Hey everyone, my name is Mitch Dyer. This guy is Sean Finnegan.
Hello.
Sean, The Force Awakens is coming.
We're
very excited because you and I are two of very many big Star Wars superfans at the IGN office.
This is true.
And I want to talk to you about some of Star Wars' most iconic scenes, the things that define Star Wars, the big character set moments, the big action set pieces. So what to you stands out as like a really iconic Star Wars scene?
So the first one I wanted to choose really kind of set the tone for one of these movies for me, which is the Anakin Skywalker versus Obi-Wan Kenobi fight.
A classic prequel scene.
In Revenge of the
Sith. One
Sith.
I actually really like.
Yeah, not only is the choreography really good, and we get sort of like we have kind of these great moments throughout the fight where we hear Duel of the Fates, which is one of these new great things
the
that came with the
Big,
prequels. Yeah, exactly.
Thing.
But really, I think it's the one scene in which we get to see some standout acting in a movie that is actually really sparse in that category.
Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor is a
scene.
great actor, and it's the first time that I actually feel that Anakin betrayed anyone. Like he does things in the movie where like he kills the younglings and stuff, but they kind of feel like I'm just trying to be a bad guy thing. This moment when Anakin finally loses the battle, he tries to challenge Obi-Wan when he has the higher ground, and you have this great little monologue there where Obi-Wan just feels literally betrayed.
I believe more in his heartbreak than Padme's.
Absolutely, absolutely. He says,
"You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you."
You can feel the pain and the suffering that Anakin's betrayal has caused him. And for me, that's just, it's iconic. It's one of the best parts, maybe the best part of that singular movie.
Love it. I'm gonna shift gears big time. I'm gonna go to a specific character scene I love in The Empire Strikes Back. When Han is leaving and Leia chases after him, and they have that weird flirtation in the hallway where you first realize, like, something's going on here. Are they gonna smooch? I think they're gonna smooch. And they just have like that really great dialogue that shows, yes, they care about each other, and it's awkward, and they're still trying to figure it out, and they're like kids, and you get that, it's like the first instance of actual romance in Star Wars.
You're absolutely right about Han and Leia. In fact, that's the moment I wanted to choose, is another moment involving those two characters, also from The Empire Strikes Back, but it's the iconic moment in which Han gets encased in carbonite.
Yes.
We all know this to be like one of the famous improvised moments that wasn't scripted, but it's when Leia finally confesses her love there as Han's about to, basically sacrifice himself for the good of everyone else, and he says, "I know." It's such a great Han moment. Yeah. I think the stories go that it took everyone else on set surprise. They were struggling getting the scene right, doing the line that was actually written on paper, and then
I love you too.
Yeah,
princess.
It's just such not a Han thing to say, but then all of a sudden Harrison Ford, who is the embodiment of that character, comes out and gives you the perfect line, and that's the one that stands, for many years to come. That's a great moment for me.
Return of the Jedi. Luke Skywalker, he's on the Death Star with Darth Vader and the Emperor. The moment he chops off Darth Vader's hand, he's succumbed to the rage, right? He's super angry. You actually see Luke fully kind of embracing the dark side.
Yeah.
He stops, he takes that breath, and he's like, wait a minute, I can't do this. This is awful, I can't do this, this is bad. I love that scene because it's the moment, you see the exact moment Luke Skywalker becomes a Jedi Knight. Because he turns off his lightsaber, throws it to the ground, and just says, I'm a Jedi Knight like my father before me.
He shows restraint, and that's a big thing with the Force, and that's like, you're right, iconic moment from that movie. Wrapping it up, I think, to me, what all of Star Wars is about is encapsulated in one scene where Yoda is teaching a young Luke Skywalker about the Force on Dagobah, and it's that scene when they're training and he's trying to get him to understand what the Force is about, and he has this great monologue where he's like, the Force is between you and me and the rock and tree and even all of these things around us. Not only is it an amazingly moving and emotional scene, but it's delivered by a puppet.
So good.
This is something that everyone forgets.
Frank Oz is a literal wizard.
It's a puppet, and if you watch the behind the scenes documentary, there are scenes where Irvin Kershner is yelling from across the stage, tilt the eyes up a little bit because the eyes are just pointed off into space, and the operator of the puppet is underneath the stage so he can't see. And just all of the magic that kind of coalesced in that scene is like, it makes Star Wars what it is for me. And then it ends the perfect way possible where Luke says, you expect the impossible, and then he lifts the X-Wing out of the swamp to Luke's disbelief, and then he comes up and says, I don't believe it, and then Yoda says the famous line,
that is why you fail.
And I'm just like, to me, there is nothing better in Star Wars than that scene right there. That's what the movies are about to me.
Pretty good movies.
Yeah.
Sean, thank you so much. We're gonna have a lot more on Star Wars, all things Star Wars, leading up to, during, and certainly after The Force Awakens. So for all that and more, stay tuned to IGN.